Starting back again. So far, we have covered the preparation, how to go for Umrah, and now we're going to talk about the actual step by step about Umrah. And in Umrah, uh, we have the following things as a part of that. We have to make a niyyah, and we have to make uh, but before we make niyyah, we have to get the ihram and state of niyyah, and then we are doing a tawaf, doing saeed with the haircut, and then two rakat salah of the tawaf, and then we done. Let's start with the first step, that we have to arrive in Mecca in a state of ihram. State of ihram is the being in certain clothes which are designated as ihram clothes, and then we have to make a niyyah, and after the niyyah we make a talbiyah. Once the talbiyah is started after the niyyah, we are now in the state of ihram with the restrictions of the state of ihram in place. They are ihram clothes, and then they are state of ihram conditions. And the first step is to understand miqat. Miqat is a boundary, is an oval shape boundary. It's a very large area stretching from Medina all the way south of Jeddah, and the place called Yalmalam. This was established at the time of Prophet Ibrahim and has continued ever since, and it has to be strictly followed according to the requirements. And when we are entering into this boundary, we should be in a state of ihram. That means, first of all, if we are in Medina, those people who arrive in Medina first, they stay for a couple of days, and after that, they are still in their hotel, and in the hotel, they take a shower, change clothes, and then before they put the ihram clothes on, you can put the perfume, underarm, and deodorant. And once you put the ihram clothes on, which are two plain towel sheets for the men, and the women, they own regular simple clothes they wear. That's enough. And once they make a niyyah that they're going to be doing umrah, which is Allahumma labbaika umrah, when they do this simple few words of making niyyah, uh, then brings them in the state of ihram with the talbiyah. That's labbaik Allahumma labbaik labbaik la sharika lak labbaik innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. This talbiyah has to be memorized, be understood the meaning of it, and not only the understanding but the feeling of understanding of the meaning. That when you're saying, "Oh Allah, I am here," you repeat that several times. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, and then you acknowledge the Allah's God's sovereignty and the kingdom and all the blessing and the ownership of everything. So we recite that verbally, we feel that spiritually, and we act like that with Tawheed in all around us in any way, in every way, and being God conscious, and we start walking in the path of Allah, and entry into the sacred precinct of Miqat in order to go to Mecca to perform the Umrah. This is an old tradition, requirement of the Muslims or believers that has been made mandatory, that must be done for anyone and fit into. So once we are in a state of ihram, we enter into the boundary and go on to the journey. Usually people from Medina, they may go from Medina airport to Jeddah airport, then take a bus on the road and go to Mecca. Or the another group of people will do that from Medina, get on the bus, go to Miqat, and finally they have prepared for the state of ihram at the Miqat or before, and then the bus will take them all the way to Mecca. And the, the amount of time spent in the travel on the road is about the same as we take it the flight from Medina to Jeddah to Mecca, because from hotel to Medina and then the waiting for the flight, and sometimes the flight is late or delayed or canceled, and then from the flight you go to Jeddah. The arrival luckily in Jeddah is easy because it's not a Hajj terminal, it is an international terminal. It's like a domestic flight, and from there you get on the bus, and the bus ride is only about 45 minutes to Mecca, with one stop of the checkpoint, and then from there you go to the hotel, and but make sure all your baggage is on that bus, unless there is separate arrangement that the baggage will go on a trolley separately from Medina to Mecca, as some groups may do, but baggage is your own responsibility. So, in the transit time, the waiting time, the bus, they are, by train or by plane, it's about the same, but some people will prefer to go by plane with the different kind of uh, breaks, and it is less tiresome when you take the plane. So, the masjid and miqat, when you leave Medina, it's outside Medina. And the, the frequent statement or slogan of the person in the state of ihram is that he or she must recite labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak labbaik, innal hamda wan ni'mata lak wal mulk la sharika lak. And men to recite louder and the women to do it in a low tone or silently. And oftentimes we find people do not know the wording of that correctly and make mistakes. You can see on this bus the baggage is here on the top of the bus, and sometimes some of these things, no matter how they are covered, will fall out. So if your bag, and here the bags are there, somewhat loose, so if anything is missing, it's going to be very difficult to find it. And another thing is that the buses, they all are, these are only a few buses, but there are a lot of buses there, and some of the buses look alike. So don't go by the color, don't go by any other means, except you should know the name of the group, the bus number, particularly is important. And when you leave the bus, make sure you are coming back to the same bus number with the same company name and the same everything. And so when you leave the bus, sometimes they park one place to get you off, and then they move another location, and then when people come back, then they get panicky. What happened to the bus? And they sit on the wrong. So you have to be very, very well prepared. The women's regular clothes become ihram clothes, and you can make it simple covering, make it complicated. It's up to you. For the men, there are two sheets, one for the top, one for the bottom. Your Hajj group leader will show you how to put it on when you're in Medina, and when you are in the transit station before Mecca. If you're going to Mecca straight, they will teach you there also. Now, conditions for the Miqat Ihram, that make sure you take a shower in your hotel and put your clothes on, but do not make your niyyah at the hotel. You make the niyyah when you're about to cross the Miqat, before then. If you're going by plane, you get in the plane, and then the flight crew or the captain will make announcement that we'll be coming to Miqat, so make your niyyah right before that, or just about that time. But make sure you have the ihram clothes on, your shoes and everything is all in place, rather than doing something sometime later during the flight, which is going to. And if you did not have the state of ihram, you need to go back and re-enter and redo the whole thing. And so there's no other way around. And the other is, so you should be clean physically, mentally, spiritually. And then you can put the perfume on, under on deodorant, but all before they put the ihram clothes on. Then the state of ihram has to be acquired, and then followed by two rakah salah, which is the according to some school of thought nafal, others say sunnah. It is a tahiyatul ihram. And if you are entering the masjid, and there's a first salah going on, you can join in, and you do not have to do two rakat salah separately for the tahiyatul ihram rules. The state of ihram rules are the clothes, if they get soiled, you can change it, exchange it, and then they must be clean. You can scratch your skin, no problem. You can wear the wristwatch. The 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 face mask is allowed if you are the source of infection to spread, or the others are spreading to you and you have a low resistance. And this one need to be discussed with the scholar, your reason. And but there'll be some scholars who will give you quick fatwas that you have got to pay them. It is not. It should not be used as a luxury. It has to be necessity. The necessity is that you do not harm other people. You do not. In other words, harm should be removed and harm should be prevented, and that one supersedes that. So, do not get into controversy and be educated properly ahead of time. And there will be all kind of different statements during the Hajj giving. People are very good in giving fatwas without any justification at times, without proper knowledge. And you need to get slippers, shoes. If they're shoes, then you need to make sure they're not the kind of shoes that cover the ankles. The face has to be uncovered. The hands and head must be exposed. The hats and socks and gloves are forbidden. And the women, the covering the face, wearing jewelry, not allowed. And of course, no scenting. And the restriction state of ihram start immediately after the making niyyah. And the other restrictions are you cannot hurt anybody, do not disobey Allah, do not do any worldly contacts, do not trim your nails or haircut, no perfume or cosmetic to put on, do not wear any clothes, you cannot harm any trees or animals. Tawaf around the Kaaba, when you come to Masjid al-Haram, you enter the masjid making dua. When you see the Kaaba, make dua. And the first side of Kaaba, when you make a dua, that is a place to be highly dua is accepted. So make your humble appeal to Allah with the dua, with a high level of humility and the khushu, and then have the rija that Allah will inshallah accept it. This is an older picture, but you can see the Babi Malik Abdul Aziz is here, but probably at this point it is removed because of the construction. And the Safa Gate, the Marwa Gate, all of that has been modified at the present time. This is an older picture because these buildings, all these are gone. And the Tawaf is going around Kaaba 7 times. 7 times going around is one Tawaf. People get confused after telling over and over again Tawaf, each Tawaf is 7 rounds. You cannot call one round as a Tawaf. Tawaf, you have to have 7. You go with the ones, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you've done the 7, you come back here and then you have a one complete Tawaf. During the round, try to avoid the Maqam Ibrahim place, which is very crowded. You can slow down here. Cannot enter the Hatim from this side. It's usually closed. Go to the other side. And during the making a tawaf, do not go inside the Hatim because the tawaf is around the Kaaba, not inside the Kaaba. Hatim is considered as inside the Kaaba. When you come to Rukn Yamani, you can touch it. No special dua, no special need or anything. If it's crowded, you cannot do that. You just keep going and you do not point your hands. But once you come to Kaaba, I mean the Rukn Yaman, the black stone, then you start there again, the start line, and look at that black stone. Face the palms, your hands towards the black stone. Say Bismillahi, Allahu Akbar, and then you go on with the left shoulder into the counterclockwise position. And this is important that you maintain a state or salah with the gaze down on the ground, usually at the location where if you were to do the sajda, that your head will be over there. So just try to keep it. Now some people recommend you can look at the Kaaba, but looking around is not right because you are in a state of salah. And in the salah, you can look around in case of something is urgent. You can talk if it's an urgent. Otherwise, you just consider you are in a state of salah. You're doing your du'as, you're reciting the Quran, whatever you like to do, whatever you remember. Do not recite from the paper, because if you do not understand it, by saying it, Allah is not looking at your reading skill. He's looking at you to talk to Him. So we need to talk to our Creator. This is why we come here, to talk to Him, to plead our case and what is bothering us, what is that we need. We need to have salvation. We need to have spiritual purification. We need to have forgiveness. We need to have a spiritual uplifting and cleansing ourselves and coming closer to Allah. Those are some of the things that we need to be in mind when we're going around the Kaaba doing tawaf, and keeping that in mind and doing du'as accordingly. Any dua is fine. There are books telling you the first round this dua, second round this dua. People cannot read Arabic. If they keep looking at the first round, second round, they get confused. It does not make any sense. This is the place and time where you speak directly from your heart, directly, without any medium in between. And you will see sometimes people going in a group and the leaders speak loud, others just copying it. And they don't even know how to copyright what it means. The only one authentic dua that is between Rukn Yamani and the Black Stone is that Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina azaban nar wadkhilna al jannah ma'al abrar ya azizu ya ghafar ya rabbal alameen. The most authentic dua. The Prophet ﷺ did that, and there's no other authentication of other duas that people may be promoting or doing in this thing. Whatever comes to your mind, whatever comes to your heart, have a sincere, humble view of the Kaaba from the top. As you can see, the rounds, the left shoulder facing the Kaaba. And then another thing is, you can see the green lights there. That can tell you an idea where you're coming from. The green lights an area where the start line usually close by, and then it goes to Safa. This side is, and you can see how many people are there packed up in a small place. You start line where the Kaaba door, and right next to that on this side, and usually the crowd is slower and more congested in this area. And you just go all around, stay in the outer circle, and the best thing is to do is to be in outer circle so that you do not get squeezed. Inner circle, too crowded, and sometimes there are too many people, emotional, you get really squeezed. There have been times people have actually died right in so packed, and so you need to kind of stay farther away, outer circle. It may be a little longer, but it'll be safer for you, less packed. And so start with the wudu and stop your talbiyah, and the men to expose the right shoulder and uncover, and it's called istaba, and make your niyyah about the umrah, Allahumma labbaik umrah, and then you already have done that before, and so at this point you had to make the niyyah for the tawaf, and Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and you go on counterclockwise, and do not look around. 7 rounds during being in the tawaf, uh, and do his tasbih and dua. And for the first 3 rounds, men walk briskly. And if you have forgotten about that, that's okay, no problem. The multazam is the place between the door of the Kaaba and Blackstone. Maqam Ibrahim is where the is encasing of the uh, Ibrahim's footsteps with the marking there. And Rakat Salat and Maqam Ibrahim is supposed to be done, but usually very crowded. There's no way you can do that. You can move back and all the way out where it's safe and peaceful to do Salah, maybe even outside the masjid. And it will be considered as a Salah Maqam Ibrahim, whatever the close one. Do not try to do right at that spot because it could hurt other people or you will also get hurt. Now the last round, when you're doing that, okay, going into Hadim after the end of the seventh, you can go into Hadim, sit there if you want to, or you can do everything. Then you can at the end come back and do your stop at the inside the Hatim, as if you can, depending upon how many people crowded are in one small area. Now, this is the way that if you stay in the outer circle, and the last one, you should gradually zigzag out. And when you are getting out, it'll become easier for you not to get hit or hurt other people. And but once you've done the seventh round, then you can try to come closer to go to Hatim, but not try before that. And the last round, by the way, is that you need to zigzag yourself so that you come out without hurting anybody, and do not do. People sometimes go in the opposite direction, which and as you can see, oftentimes people have been squeezed if you have a heart problem or phobia of the people, and then I think it's in that case you should just stay in the outermost circle, and you can easily pull over to the side, sit there. If you need to take a break, drink some water. And this is when you can see the people on the inside and outside both. Again, area where most people like to be because it's a shorter circle, but it is also one which is most highly squeezed over there. And the most frequent zikr of Allah in the masjid, Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi wa subhanallahi azim. You can keep reciting that, but you should also know the meaning of that, understand that, feel that. And look at how people are packed, and it's easily you can get lost there. Have something fallen down, don't try to pick it up because it will hurt you more. So that's why when you're doing the tawaf, you shouldn't have anything with you that can fall down and you will need to pick up. And so what you need to do is when you enter the masjid, just have a plastic grocery bag, put your slippers in there, and put that thing in the arm around the elbow, and there should be nothing else. Or your best thing is to have a backpack, and some companies will give you the backpack. Put your slippers in there, put in your bag, and therefore your hands are free to walk around without any. And again, another picture to show the crowd. This is the time when people are praying. The this is the door of the Kaaba, and Blackstone is here, Multazam, and you can see people are there. This is the other wall, and again the door, Kaaba. Try to spend time some you can. This is the less crowded time when this is Maqam Ibrahim door, and Blackstone. These are the fragments of the actual Blackstone, which was taken by a ruler long time ago, and then he broke into pieces. They took them back, and then they embedded in the wax in this material, and then you can see the feeling of some of these Blackstone. Now, since the construction is taking place currently, they have built an elevated round circular walkway. This is meant for people who are using the wheelchair. And so it is a shorter circle because the construction on the top floor was being done and there was discontinuity. So this one is done in two levels. And sometimes they allow about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning people without the wheelchair. So if you are around the area where you enter the masjid door of the Babi Malik Fahad and keep going all the way, and then that's where when they open that you can go inside. This is how the crowd looks like it. This is a recent picture, and you can see that the new area has been expanded from there. All these Turkish built areas will be removed. The off area will be expanded, and this is how the walkway looks from close. Now, when you need to drink Zamzam, you can go to the side, and you will see that there is these bottle will say cold water, or it doesn't say it the way. So if you take the cold water, that if you really have to have it, drink that. Otherwise, drink the room temperature so you can drink more and reduce your dehydration. Clean cups on the right side, used cup on the left side. Do not reverse that. And uh, and I'll say to you that a healthy habit might be lift the cups from here, take somewhere from the middle, for sure that they have been all neat. And now, after you complete the tawaf, you would have done two rakat salah. If you haven't done that at this time and you want to start the sa'i, you can do. And to go to Safa, and the Safa is on this side. That from the Kaaba where the start line is, go that direction. Right now things are a little bit uh, tricky and change. They keep changing how to get there because of construction and expansion going on. So, but you will find the signs are everywhere how to get to Safa. So go to Safa, and before you go there, make sure you have some place you make a stop and drink plenty of Zamzam water because you may have some dehydration. Even if you don't feel dehydration, you can still, it's highly recommended to drink some water, energy. If you have some snacks, you can eat that, and then make sure you have wudu when you start. So look from the Safa top towards the Kaaba, make your niyyah to start the Sa'i, and again say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and you start to go down slope, and the slope is on the right side, and then this is your first round. Even though it's not round, it is one way, but it is counted as a like a round. So round 1, 3, and 5 and 7 is going from Safa to Marwa, and then the even numbers 2, 4, and 6 is a return back to Safa. So going out will be 4 and coming back will be 3, and then what you can do is that the end will up it will be at the Marwa. So some people will walk back again. They need to go out from this side because there's a construction going on that side. There may be difficulty. Some will try to come out from this way, but these are all areas of under construction, affected, maybe closed, not accessible, and more difficult from the walking the outside. So maybe best need to come back and then go from here towards the outside. And the green lights are indicating between two spots that the men are to walk here briskly, and you don't need to run, just gently walk briskly, but the women still walk in a low-key manner as they were doing before. So Sa'i, to start with the wudu, make your niyyah, and then continue. And the difference between Sa'i and the tawaf about the wudu, that in the wudu, in the tawaf, and the wudu is done, and you start the tawaf, and if the wudu is broken, you go back and do your wudu again. If your wudu is broken before the 4 rounds, you go back and do the wudu, come back and start from round 1 again. And if you have 4 rounds already completed, and then the wudu is broken, go back and do the wudu again and start from the round 5, 6, and then go to 7. And but in the Sa'i, it is not considered as a part of the masjid originally. Therefore, but we start with the wudu, but the wudu broken, and you can continue with the without the wudu until your Sa'i is complete. But if you are around this Sa'i area, when the first salah will start, you have to have wudu for the first salah. So make sure you stay in wudu, better off rather than at the time of azan. Then you go outside, do the wudu, come back, and you're not going to be able to get back in properly. And so keep in mind the wudu and the way the trip, 4 trips to Marwa and 3 trips back to Safa. Each one-way trip is about 450 meters. And then make any dua like you were doing in the state of salah, but you got to stop and join the first salah at the time when that happens. finish the marwa, get the haircut, and the men get the shaving of the head, and the women will get the a one digit finger equal to the haircut, and they can do the women can do each other's haircut, and the men, if they are bald, there is no hair at all, they still have to put the razor on, pretend as if it is the hair that they have, and they got to do that. So people sometimes ask the question that if I get a shave in the beginning and then the next time I have to do that, but there's no hair, they first of all the hair grow back, and even if they don't, like I mentioned, if they're bald, you still have to pretend that they are hair and pass the razor over the head, and pretend like you're cutting. So the next thing is that here's the top of the Safa mountain. Here is walking down from the Safa mountain on the right side, and the left side is for coming back. In between is the walkway for the people with the wheelchair. Stay on your right side, and this does not look like crowded because it's not the Hajj time. Hajj time will be really crowded all over the place, and you still have a multiple stops over there for the ability to drink water, Zamzam, and you should keep drinking water frequently and have a bottle in your hand also. This is the picture of the people who are coming down from the Safa, and you can see the tiles are sharp, and sometimes they are date pits people eat, and then the pits can drop, or there may be tiny rocks, or there may be water that slipped out of the bottle, and it may be slippery. So be careful when you're walking down, not to get hurt, and also not to slip here. And because these are sharp tiles, the entire masjid is completely washed and clothes. I'm sorry, the vacuum and washed after every first prayer, 5 times a day. So even then, sometimes you can see certain kind of tiny rocks stuck in there and can hurt your feet. Or particularly if you're diabetic, you have to protect your feet. And an older picture of the Safa, Marwa, and walkway. The green light here is in between. Uh, for example, this is the green light, and there's another green light. So in between is the one the man has to walk a little bit. Now the 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 Umrah is complete. So to start the Umrah, what you need to do is the shower, ihram clothes, and private ihram clothes. You can put perfume and come to Miqat, make your niyyah, make your talbiyah. You're in a state of haram. Go to Mecca, enter the Masjidul Haram. After you settle down, put your stuff into the hotel, see the Kaaba first time, and make your dua, heartfelt dua. When you see the Kaaba, it is a place and a time when you see the Kaaba first time, the duas are accepted. If the dua is done with the diligently, with the humility, with the tears, and good expectation from Allah, you will see that the dua is accepted, and inshallah, it is like a miracle. And have it that feeling a moment ready ahead of time. And so then after you have made the dua, come down and start your tawaf. When your tawaf is complete, if you have a chance, you can do 2 rakat salah now, or you can do the rakat salah afterwards. That is the 2 rakat for the tawaf. You go to Safa and start your sa'i, 7 rounds. After you complete that, you come back and then you get a haircut. After the haircut, your umrah is complete. Make your gratitude to Allah by doing another 2 rakat salah if you want to, and make your dua, and then you go back out into your hotel. You can come out state of ihram. Now on Hajj, first we need to understand that every Hajj is a Hajj Akbar. Umrah is a Hajj Asghar. People have the notion that Hajj on a Friday is Hajj Akbar, but every Hajj is a Hajj Akbar. Now, if the Hajj happened to be on Friday, the reward is multiplied. Every ibadah on Friday is multiplied, and at least 10 times. So that's what makes some people think that they are like doing 10 Hajj. If you want to do 10 Hajj, then do the Hajj for your parents after you're done for yourself. And even if the parents have already done it, then if they are deceased, parent, grandparents, the Hajj for them it is 10. If you do the Hajj for yourself is 1. If you do for someone else, anyone else is 2. Parents, grandparents, parents, as far as you can go, it is the Hajj equal to 10 times. Hajj Tamattu, Hajj Kiran, Hajj Ifrad are 3 terms used. When you're done the Umrah, come out of state of Ihram, it is called Hajj Tamattu because you took a break in between the Ihram of the Umrah and then put the Ihram of Tawaf, of the Hajj, and in between you were without the state of Ihram restrictions. Now, if you came late, you did the Umrah and then you combine that with Hajj. Or some people would like to do as Hajj Kiran because they say Prophet ﷺ did the Hajj Kiran himself. But he also said that in Hadith that had I known this, what I know now before this, I would have done Hajj Tamattu. So some will still do Hajj Kiran, some will do Hajj Tamattu, but majority do Hajj Tamattu, especially going from thousands of miles away. It gives them break and they get out, relax. But the sacrifice is to be done in both cases. Hajj Ifrad, no sacrifice is done, just do the Hajj. And again no Umrah because these are people mostly local. They can do the Tawaf so many times, so they don't have to. The essential part of the components or the Hajj, number one, to have Ihram on in the state of Ihram. Number two, the Arafah is called Wukuf Arafah, spending some time standing in the boundaries of Arafah and being there is the most essential part of the Hajj. And then the second most essential part of the Hajj is the Tawaf Ziyarah, also called Tawaf Hajj or Tawaf Ifada, and it is accompanied with Sa'i. Umrah had the Tawaf and Sa'i, the Tawaf Ziyarah has Tawaf and Sa'i, but Tawaf Wida, the last Tawaf, is only the Tawaf without Sa'i. And the other obligatory components of the Hajj: crossing the Miqat in state of Ihram, staying in Arafah, spending the night in Muzdalifah, spending the night in after the Arafah into the Mina, stoning a Jamrat, haircut, and Tawaf Wida. All these are important. Sometimes some people uh, don't want to spend that much time and they take a shortcut and make their own. Now, this is the map of the Hajj destinations. You are, when going to Hajj in Makkah, already in the hotel. You put the Ihram on. You can go to Masjid, do your Fajr Salah there. And then you take the direction A, going to Mina. You spend the time in Mina 24 hours. The next day in the morning after the Fajr prayer, you go on to the B and then spend the day in Arafah, which is the 9th Zilhajj. And after the 9th Zilhajj, before the end of the day, after the sunset, you leave and you take the direction to spend time in Muzdalifah, which is spending the night in Muzdalifah. And you do the Maghrib and Isha prayers in Muzdalifah no matter what time of the night you get there. That's how the Prophet ﷺ did that himself. Some people who become very particular, they say, no, 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 we want to do it here. Or we want to do it here. We should have done it here. And they start to disturb other people. When you come in Muzdalifah, do your prayer here. You're in perfectly in order. Next morning, after the Fajr prayer, uh, as soon as the daylight begins, you leave there and come back to Mina. And then in the next few days, you are going to be in Mina. While in Muzdalifah, you pick up some pebbles, some collection of the stones, and then remember, please see how this is done. Pebbles, slaughter of the animal, haircut, and tawaf. ihram, and you're done. And this is how you need to remember. The map of where you're going to be. On the 8th Dhul Hajj, you're in a state of ihram. You are in Makkah, and you did the Fajr prayer. You go to Mina, and in Mina you do the Zohar prayers, and you do the Asr prayer. You spend the night in Mina, and you do the Maghrib and Isha. The next morning, you are in that on the day of the 9th of Dhul Hajj, you are in a state of ihram. You are now in Mina. You're going to be in Arafah. You arrive after Zawal or whatever the logistic means that can take you from Mina to Arafah. You have to follow your group because the millions of people come and it's not possible to follow a certain pattern. But whatever the timings are given to you, that what time the train that you can take, you follow your timing. Are in Arafah, you pray Zohar and Asr there. You do not do Maghrib and Isha in Arafah because you're going to do that in Muzdalifah, and you arrive in Muzdalifah and you do the Maghrib and Isha. You collect the stones over there, about 70 to 80, and any extra just in case you picked up the wrong ones or somebody else may need them. You spend the night in after you do the prayer, you eat something because the food boxes will be given to you while you're on Arafah. Don't waste them there. Bring them, and when you spend the night, this is where you're going to need them. And Muzdalifah night, you're going to spend there, and that's where you, if you have brought the foam mat with you, or straw mat or whatever, spread it on the ground. It's open air, with nothing, no camp like condition, no siding, no top, no bottom, and you just spend over there. The 10th of the Zil Hajj, you in the morning, you are still in the state of ihram until you get the haircut. You are in Muzdalifah, and after the daylight begins, Fajr and daylight, you leave. Your group takes you back to Mina, and then in Mina, you throw the pebbles at the big Jamra, which is facing towards the city of Makkah, and you start with a small one, pass by, then the middle one you pass by, then you go to the big one, and it's called Jamratul Aqaba or Buzurg Shaitan or Big Shaitan. You go and stone there, and you do 7 stones one at a time and say Allahu Akbar each time you throw. After you're done, go back to your uh, camp, and then once you know that the sacrifice is done on your behalf, and then you get the after the sacrifice is told to you it's been done, you cut your hair, remove ihram, take a shower, and rest, and then ask your group leader what time they'll be taking you together to Makkah to perform Tawaf Ziyarah. Stay together because they will bring you in the bus in Makkah, and but it depends upon which kind of group are you going with, but check with your group how you're going to do the tawaf. And they usually park the bus there and give you about 4 hours to perform the tawaf, which requires the tawaf and sa'i, and in your regular civilian clothes out of ihram, and then you get back in your bus or whatever arrangement they tell you. You spend the night, come back in Mina. On the 11th of Zilhajj, you are not in a state of haram. You are now in Mina, and you would have done the Tawaf Ziyarah already. And if you haven't done that the day before, now is time for you to plan to do your Tawaf today. You're going to be throwing stones, and all three of them today, starting with the small, middle, and the large. And each one of them, you do 7 stone at a time. Uh, in other words, if you are doing for somebody else, you do 7 for yourself, and then you're doing 7 for somebody else. But each one stone is to be thrown 1 stone at a time, and we'll talk more about under the Jamarat. Now, if you haven't gone to do the tawaf, time to go to tawaf, best time to go in the evening or night because it's cooler at that time. Turn back, spend the night in Mina. 12 and 13, again, almost the same thing. If on the 12th, end of the day, you want to leave, you're allowed to leave, And if you're out of the boundary of the Mina, then you can leave. But if you didn't, then you need to stay there another night on the 13th, process that again. Uh, Before you leave, you had to do Tawaf Wida. So during the Hajj, there is a nice simple thing to remember. A low-calorie diet, basically with a diet, with the water, dates and fruits, non-gassy snacks, so that you don't have to keep on, going back and forth for doing the wudu. So tips of the toilet, stay more alert, not feel sleepy by eating too much, and then you can do better quality of ibadah. And but make sure that because it's going to be very hot, and prevent your dehydration. And sometimes the air condition do not work in Arafah, and there's a heat of the people adding more heat in there, and sometimes the temperature outside is hot anyway. So you would prevent the dehydration, drink plenty of balanced fluids, your tea and coffee less because they make you go to the bathroom more, and oftentimes people are tired and jet lagged and sleep, and is sets in and sleepy. So if you really feel sleepy and tired, take rest a little bit earlier, and do not just keep sleeping through, or do not keep talking to each other, a waste of time. If you think that you have somebody sitting next to you who keeps talking, and then you can close your eye, pretend you're sleeping, and that will also be counted as ibadah, and because you're doing for the sake of Allah instead of trying to gossip with each other. Get your energy together because you're going to need afterwards. You can take a walk around, be less social. Avoid if being social, and you can take a walk. You can reduce that and do zikr of Allah, and avoid those situations where the potentially chance for infection. Map of Mina. This side is facing Mecca. This is the Jamarat area, and the slaughterhouse on this one, and the so-called VIP camps are on the side. And remember some of the landmark Masjid Khif over here. Picture of the train. The train could be very long, but still you got to stand there. Most people have to stand, and then not taking your stuff with you. There's no check-in places there. So then have now prepare yourself for to going the Hajj. So in 8th Zul Hajj, now you need to remember only the Islamic calendar. Forget about all the other kind of calendars. On the 8th of the morning Zul Hajj, take a shower, be in a state of ihram, and then your group will tell you as what time and how the bus will come, and you will all get in there. Prepare your baggage into two groups. The baggage that you need to take that in the camp, and the other baggage, make sure pack properly, label everything. That will go to the storage, and your group will tell you how and all of that baggage will be collected, and follow that and put your baggage together with all the other people. And, make sure that is taken care of, because if you don't take care of that, nobody else. Now in the Hajj camps, they will give you light blankets, they will give you pillow, they will give you mattress, and during the sleep, your face must remain uncovered. If by accident somebody has face covered, if it has a habit, whoever can see gently and slowly without scaring the person, uncover the face. And take your personal items with you. As we mentioned earlier, you are responsible for your own possessions. Do not expect any valid service. The only valid service that can be provided to you is your own spouse, if you already have made the arrangement with each other without fighting. Otherwise, there's no other valid service. Now, if you want to go to Mecca on foot, make sure you go at least 2 or 3 people together, because Mecca walk is about 45 minutes. Otherwise, if you, in case you get lost, at least when you have other people. Um, in the camps, it is important to remember that each one will be separate, men and women will be separate, so make sure you have your personal belongings divided accordingly, uh, because that's how the men and women camps are. And on the 8th Zul Hajj, again, the summary is that in a state of ihram, you arrive in Mina, settle down in Mina camps, do your prayers every day, basis on that in a congregation. The congregational prayer will be done right in your own camp, and you'll see every group is doing their own. And generally, uh, the large group, if there are 4 or 5 different groups under the same company, and if they are together, they will open the walls in between, it'll make into one large camp. You should have packed about 2 3 days personal items, and the people will be given to go in the train, but the people who are medically handicapped, they can go in the bus. You must have your ID card on. You must wear the wristband, whether you're in the bus or in the train. And aerial view of the Mina camps. As you can see, the camps all look alike, so you can get lost easily if you do not know exactly what your camp number, location, and everything in the way it should be, with a lot of landmarks. It's very crowded. In the Hajj camps, you have to make sure you do not smoke, and smoking is haram anyway. And people sometimes argue, where does it say in haram? Well, show us in the Quran where does it say it is halal. It is considered khabais, so it is not halal in any way. So it's good time to quit smoking during the Hajj. Do not follow other people. Some of the people you see in the state of Haram smoking, but you want to be in Hajj like their quality of Hajj, or you want to have a better quality Hajj of your own. ID card is a must bracelet given to you. Oftentimes, you get the card, they put that on. They also show you the which camp and which camp leader is the one mutawaf for local, what they call muallam, or what many names, the ones passports. Know your camp where it is. No cooking in the camp. Carry on the baggage with the wheels and the 2 3 day supplies over there in that. Then, if you are lost, first of all, try to avoid getting lost, because if you are lost, then don't get panic. Make sure you have a, um, cell phone with you when you go anywhere. Make sure your phone numbers with you to call if you need to call somebody. Then it is important for you to know how to connect and how, especially not to get lost. On the 9th of Zulhajj, you go to the Arafah. The group will take you together. Again, this is the hardest time in the Hajj camps, that the walk that you will do from Mina to Arafah. And I'll show you the picture how does it look like. The ibadah on the day of Arafah is one consistent thing, and that is La ilaha illallah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd, yuhyi wa yumeet wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. This is something you should study it, reflect it, feel it, and recite it all day long over there. This is the best dua. And this dua, it means tasbih is the best you can do in the night, Laylatul Qadr, and also in the day of Arafah. Arrive within the boundaries of Arafah, do your ibadah with khushu and ikhlas, and it is the time that you have come for. It is where you're going to be standing with the hands raised in dua later in the afternoon. First do individually, then you do collectively, and then you in the khutbah of the Hajj, if you can listen, but most often it's impossible. And you leave after the sunset for Muzdalifah. As we mentioned before, there are some dumb penalties if you do not understand. Ask your scholar with you. You need to study a very authentic Hajj book which has a good knowledge of Hajj. Incidentally, I have written a detailed book on Hajj. It's about 300 pages. It's a very easy, friendly way to read with the bullet points and lots of pictures, diagrams, tables, and everything about Hajj that you need to know. It's in there, and some of the information that I am giving you on the seminar here, it's also in the book, and a lot more information than this seminar. If you intentionally miss anything, the penalty is even more. But if you accidentally, by mistake and or as an oversight, did that, then you still have to pay penalty, and it's called dam. and that sacrifice of a goat, stoning if it's not done, removing it around before the haircut, leaving without doing the Vida, not doing the say, and a few other things that happens to be the case. If you think that you are doubtful, that you do not know that you may have done that, do not just go pay them. uh, you have to be sure. In Islam, you have to follow what you're sure about. You do not follow what is you're not sure about. If you have any question, speak to the scholar in your group. And if you think you have possibly made a mistake but you're not sure, you can give a sadaqah. But penalty is for something where you made a mistake and you got to fix it. And in the remember in the Hajj days and nights, particularly in the Arafah and the days after Arafah, there will be two kinds of people. One, that which one you want to be. You check that. One is that those are people who will pray, recite Qurans, do zikr, study the Quran, make dua, and they meditate. This is what they come for. This is the most important part of their life, to ask God's forgiveness, and so that when they go back, it's like a new beginning for that person. And but then it depends upon how spiritually, how intellectually connected with the purpose and spirituality of the Hajj, and spiritually directly connected with Allah, and focus in the in the begging for the mercy from Allah, so that his main intent is to please Allah and ask His forgiveness, and that, so that when he comes back, he has a feeling that Allah has helped him, forgive him, and then give him a chance to start again. Second group of the people are the ones that who will sit and chat, laugh, make conversation, smoke, sleep, and socialize, and it does not seem to make a difference to them. They're being careless about the purpose of Arafah, or they just have a lack of understanding of what the Wukuf is all about, and they're taking lightly. This is how the Arafah camps look like years ago. This is how it is now. It is so crowded, and this is how the traffic was years ago, and still about the same. And that's why the train is used, and this traffic has actually less congested now. Uh, Now this is the walk, as I mentioned to you earlier, from your Mina on the morning to go to Arafah. You're going to be taking the train. So you get out of the camp. If you are in the so-called VIP camp, which is close to Jamarat, you walk from there, and might be an audio issue, so I'm going to stop and I think there was some sound interruption. I'm not sure what happened, but hopefully it's back again. And now, as you can see, let me go back to the one slide before. People are walking from the camp all the way up the escalators on the Jamarat building. There are about 3, 4 levels, and seem to be a pretty long one. From there, you come to the top of the building, and then you go around a large pathway, and people are all packed with each other, and it's hot. You can see even everybody's umbrella is there, and if you have a health hazard problem, believe me, it is going to be difficult to get that taken care of. First of all, be fit before you go into the journey. Here, you make sure you have somebody with you in case you have medical emergency to help you, because it is logistically impossible. There is no ambulance. There is no health provided help of any kind. This is just millions and millions of people, all of them going at the same time. So this is the area that you have to be mentally prepared and physically prepared, spiritually still prepared. And again, this is just the bathroom areas over there, how they look like when it's not crowded, but it is really crowded. Some people have a kind of fixation in their mind that they got to go on the top of the Jabal Rahma, the mountain top. Is not part of the Hajj. It's not needed. It's not required, and it's a hardship, and so distraction, waste of time for everybody and who is going there. And as you can see, how crowded the Jabal Rahma, or the small mountain, is, and to go and back is half a day. And why don't you just stay in your tent and do your prayers, since it's not part of Hajj anyway? So why go into something which is not necessary? And you can see how people are all around there, and it's a very crowded place. Now, at the end of the day, after the sunset, you leave, get your things together. After the collective dua, everybody puts their belongings together, gather your family, gather your friends together, and then you have to go back to the train. Walking back to train is another hardship, because it is the sea of people all walking at the same time, and the zigzag going to the train. The train it may be coming every 5 or 10 minutes, but those 10 minutes are too long, and the people are, let's say 1,000 people get on the train. There are about 500,000 people standing outside, and it is a long stairway, almost like 5 or 6 story high, and oftentimes the women, because they are dressed up completely, because of the high heat, temperature is high, heat of the people, heat of the weather. Some of them pass out. So make sure when you leave the Arafat camp, you have water bottles with you, and you have had enough fluid balance maintained in a positive way, and then you have some snacks to take with you, because you're taking your personal belongings. So make sure you don't take too many things, because that's what you have to carry when you're walking on the pathway like this. And then you're also taking that with you. Now in Muzdalifah, you spend the night, you do the prayer, and you sleep right there, and then you collect the pebbles. The night spending in Muzdalifah, open air, and like a homeless, and to make you feel what a homeless is like. And so bring yourself down to a humble level. No matter you may be millionaire or billionaire, it could be any kind of air. Here, everybody's air is let out. You really become you physically, it's degrading. You are that you're being degraded by God's command to make you feel, so that we know that we are nothing compared to God, and we have to become humble. We have to begin to realize how people who are homeless, how people are the helpless, how people are poor, how they live, so we get the feeling for them also, and so that we can come down to the earth level, and this is how people are sleeping, and to make you feel that it's all in the open, and not in the camp like that. You collect small stones, and these are the size of the green piece, as you can see on the left side. And the people are picking up the huge big sizes. You don't need to do that, because you're not actually doing the real hitting anybody. It's a symbolic uh, act being replayed, what was done by Prophet Abraham, and stoning of the Jamarat, uh, like dissociating, basically dissociating our nafs from the shaitan. And so it's a practical, symbolic way to do that. Now, in the morning of the 10th Hajj, after the Fajr prayer, we leave. We are back to Mina, And it's important to get all your belongings, all your family together. This is another time where people get separated from their family, get lost, and these things happen. So before you leave Arafah, get your family together. Get on the bus or the train, stay together. Everywhere, every next spot you go, get yourself together. On the 10th of Zulhajj is the Eid day. So today you go for stoning Jamatul Aqaba, the big one, which is facing Mecca. Sacrifice of a goat or lamb by yourself if you can, which is difficult going to be, or have your company do that. You shave your head in the Tawfi Hajj is to be done, and they remove the haram. This is how the Jamarat looks like. It looks like a huge big university campus. These are the escalators going all the way like 5-story tall, and this is the heliport for the landing for the helicopter. These are the three Jamarat locations, and then after you're done, you come out from this way. And so and on the 10th Dhul Hajj, sacrifice to be done, shaving the head, get out of the state of Ihram, stoning only in the one, and Tawaf is Hajj if possible to do. Remember, please see how this is done. Pebbles, sacrifice, haircut, Tawaf Hajj, Ihram removal, and you're done. And this is how these Jamarat look like. And in the Hajj time is really crowded, and it doesn't look like crowded that much, but this is the easy time of the day, and but that's where you need to be. So make small groups to go there when you need to go there, and we'll talk more a little bit later about the Jamarat. uh, And this is when people come out. Uh, they're going to and back from the Jamarat, and at the Jamarat, you come from the left side and don't stop here. Don't like people are doing here. Go all the way to the end of that Jamarat. This is the wall. It's a long wall, and people can hit from both sides. So go on the other side, and when you go to the end, then you do from there because it's much easier. All you need to do is aim towards the wall and throw, say one at a time. Say Bismillah. I'm sorry, Allahu Akbar. Just say, and then throw the stone, and the second one. So one stone at a time. If you're doing a proxy stoning for someone else, do yours first. And be careful because the stones are flying all around. And sometimes if you're there, you get hit. And uh, all you have to do is aim towards the wall. It doesn't matter where they touch or go inside. Either one is fine. And you can see people will tend to start on this side, coming from that side, they'll stop over there. Instead, they should come all the way forward because you can see when you come to this side, you can stand anywhere and a lot of space open, and you can actually see inside very well and not much crowded. Afterwards, when you're done, you stop and you do dua, and then you move on to the next one. This is the walkway out from the Jamarat going to Makkah, and if you want to walk over there. And in the Ayami Tashriq, which is the days after the Arafah, you're supposed to do tasbih, zikr, study Quran, listen lectures, stoning all three of them, Tawaf Hajj if you haven't done that, departure if you want to leave early in the 12th and do Tawaf Vida and then go. Or if the time is very short, you can do this Tawaf Hajj and Vida combined. And if you, the important thing is that if you made a mistake and you are not sure, that's one thing. But if you are sure you made a mistake, the pay penalty, dumb, and the first is something that you have to do that. There's no penalty because it's considered not done, so you have to do it. Essential, unintentional mistake, pay them penalty to bring up to the well, intentional omission is a great sin, cannot be just done with the tawbah. You have to do tawbah, istighfar, sacrifice, a lot of things to be done. Sunnah is better to do it and not miss it. And so some penalty I already have mentioned before. And then some of the questions people may have are the ones, for example, as the debt. When you go to Hajj, you have to pay your debts. Now, which debt you have to pay? All the debts has to be paid. In order to go to Hajj, a debt which is payable that prevents you from performing the Hajj is the one that the lender says that you cannot leave. You have to get their permission. But the which are scheduled debts, these are deferred scheduled debt. For example, the mortgage payment, credit card payment. This does not prevent you from going to Hajj. You can go to Hajj. But the other ones, if you borrowed a large lump sum from someone and you don't have money, you cannot go to Hajj. You got to pay that, or you ask their permission to let you go if they do let you go. And then during the tawaf, Rukn-e-Yamani, it does not require anything special. If you have time, you can go touch it. Otherwise, no special dua is required. The only special dua that's known to be done is the between Rukn-e-Yamani and the Tawaf Hajj. I'm sorry, Rukn-e-Yamani and the Black Stone. That's the only one where it said ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. Any other time, any other place, while you're doing the tawaf, you just do any dua, whichever. Menstruation situation, we already discussed that before. And the staying in Mina during the Hajj, it's an obligation. Some people will don't like to do it. They go and stay in the hotels in Mecca. You don't need to follow them. You just do your part. Whoever misses an obligation inadvertently, there's a compensation by making a payment of a penalty of dam. And then, but if you intentionally do this thing, that the willful defiance requires more the sacrifice of a bigger animal like a cow or a camel. Wukuf Arafah, Tawaf Ifada, if they are not done, the Hajj is not done. And the this is important to know that there are often distractions over there. Like in the midnight, the clock tower on the top, there's a light show. And when that happens, people start to just stop and kind of watch. And that's not helpful. You need to be careful about that. When you're walking in Mina and other areas, it's very congested. There are buses and cars and these motorbikes. They can hit you, and you have to be careful. When they hit you from the back. You don't really you don't see it well, and until they are so close and you're done. Stoning a Jamaat can hurt you. A lot of people over there accidentally they lose things or they just throw things there, and it could be just kind of bad news sometimes. And
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
no, I think there might be a sound interruption. I have to check it later. Um, you had to avoid getting lost, and if you go someplace, you should have a cell phone, wear ID card around that, and have a wristband given to you. Tell your friends to come visit you rather than you going looking for them. And it's not necessary to go onto the Mount Hira or Sor. It is harmful. It's not part of the Hajj. Be careful about the traffic. Mentioned is not part of the Hajj to go on a Jabal Rahma. Now I will stop here, and we will cover this in the next part of visiting Medina and then the life after Hajj.